It's way too hot to be out in that other room, so I'm up here today. It's 100 degrees outside. So there's a lot of games going on. A lot of games. Daniel Doud, basically, there's another Pootie Twang account. It's not the same Pootie Twang account because it's not even the same address that on YouTube. Asked me if he could have a signed book. And I told him, dude, I'll send you a book in jail when you're in jail. That way you can read it in jail. But there's all kinds of games. So I took screenshots of that and I sent it to law enforcement. But I included the Pootie Twang account. And so you can go read the description, go click the link in the description. You can go read the whole thing that just happened. That no more than about a half hour ago. No more than an hour, but it happened just recently. Just today. And Daniel Doud says, I don't know who Pootie Twang is, and I'm not Pootie Twang. Then how are you fucking answering the emails from the Pootie Twang account? If you're not Pootie Twang, and you have no clue who Pootie Twang is, how are you answering the emails that I send to the Pootie Twang account? How does that work? And I mean, it was instantaneous. He would get the email, he would respond. Then I would send it out, another email. I think there's 3. And then while all this is going on, because what ended up happening is I took screenshots of the mentions of the new Pootie Twang account and took pictures of the stuff, took screenshots and sent it to police. While all this is happening, the DavidShurter account, which isn't me, posts DavidShurter doesn't even know Owen's name. Oh, you guys got me. You got me. Owen only dated my sister Kathy for 20 years. He only was at my house for every holiday dinner for 20 fucking years. He dated my sister Kathy for 20 years, but you're absolutely right. I don't even know who Owen Wingert is, I guess. You know? That's the kind of stupid shit. But it got a little bit heated last time because them posting just flat out death threats on my last live probably wasn't the brightest thing. Just saying. Probably not the brightest thing. You know? And so Daniel Doud posted a bunch of fucking live videos of Harlan, which is 40 minutes away from Omaha. I assume he came up from his sister's house, who, according to Thomas Schoenberger, lives in Joplin, Missouri. But posted all those live videos on YouTube, the Pootie Twang account, the very account that I emailed today. That Daniel Doud doesn't know who Pootie Twang is, and he's not Pootie Twang, and he has nothing to do with it. And yet he answers the emails from the Pootie Twang account. Again, how does that work? And so then what I wanted to actually talk about before all this shit happened was I went on my blog and because someone sent me an email about Neil Brick. And before I even got involved with the SMART conference, even knew Neil Brick, there was this investigator and I was looking for his name. I can't find his name. I will find it. I will find it. Someone knows this dude's name. He was an investigator who was looking into Doug Mesner, aka Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, and Neil Brick. And he alleged that Doug Mesner was sending people from the Satanic Temple in to infiltrate Neil Brick's SMART conference. And they were working and getting those women to join this sex trafficking thing, that they were going in and getting survivors. And the one thing that every survivor has in common is we were all raped as kids, and humanity, just a normal person will gravitate to what they know. And so he was trying to investigate this, and he ended up dying by falling down a flight of stairs. But you need to go to my blog, DavidShurter.com, and just type in the little search bar down on the right, Neil Brick, and see all the shit that comes up. I forgot that Doug Mesner, Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, had this little group called the Gray Faction. I had completely forgotten about that. So my question is, this David Hall that's involved with the Imaginarium thing, that podcast, is that why he started calling himself Gray? Is he involved with the Gray Faction? And I can't even tell you what this Gray Faction is. It was one of Doug's things, Doug Mesner's things. I can't, you'd have to go in and actually research it. But I've been at this for so long, who can keep up with all the goddamn drama? All of the stuff. It's something new all the time. But I just simply typed in Neil Brick's name in the search bar because I was trying to find the name of the investigator that said that Doug was using. And I'm not a fan of Neil Brick. I think Neil Brick and Doug Mesner are controlled opposition. I think they're working together for the same shit, to close down survivors, which is what they've always done. That's always been my contention. I don't think it's the movie. It's Gray Faction. It's not Gray State, it's Gray Faction. Again, just go into my blog, type in Neil Brick in the search bar. The shit will come up. It came up for me today. There's a part of me that actually wants to go back into that blog and just start reading, because I've had it since 2011. So much stuff has happened that I'm sure I don't remember most of it. There's just been so much. There's been so much connected to all of this. And it's just, you can come in, but it's just, all of this is about child trafficking. And these people are not bright. Daniel Doud, saying that he's not Pootie Twang and he doesn't know who Pootie Twang is, and yet he's answering the emails that I send to the Pootie Twang account. So how the fuck does that work? Again. And this investigator, I'm sure there are people who know who this investigator is. It was before my time. It was before I ever got involved with the survivor community. Before I ever got involved with the survivor community. And I don't think Pat Goodwin is good either. So when you start reading that stuff, I was a fan of hers at that time. I'm not at all anymore. At all anymore. Think she's, again, one of them. But what I'm interested in with this whole child trafficking thing is actually focus on the worker bees. I want to disrupt business as usual. That's what I want to do. I'm not going to waste my time running around demanding files that probably have been so manipulated by this point that you're never going to get the truth from those files. You can get whatever you want from Jeffrey Epstein's bullshit. None of it will be real. They've had plenty of time to actually fuck it up. What is obvious to everyone is that there's a cover-up. They're just doing it right in front of your face, and they think you're too damn stupid to actually see it. And actually, Susan, I've never seen the movie Gray State. I look like a school teacher. I'm not a school teacher. The files are a lost cause. No one should focus on those files anymore. They're fucked up. If they had hundreds of FBI people scouring that shit, you don't think those people could have also been given the directive to edit them? Again, if you really care about child trafficking, you will want to actually investigate the worker bees. Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, would be the first place I start. That whole Satanic Temple after school daycare and all of that. That's where I would focus on. His relationship with Neil Brick. His relationship, because I personally believe that Thomas's friend Johnny Dub, I don't give a shit what he says. I think it's Doug. You know? I think it's Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. I think Thomas Schoenberger and Lucien Greaves were working together. They were harassing the shit out of me. You know? They were harassing the shit out of me. I think if you look at Sherilyn, you're going to find a direct connection to Sherilyn and the rest of them. You know? And someone sent me an email, and dude, if insults, go back to middle school, dude. I don't give a shit about your insults. Come in here as an anonymous idiot and insult me. Wow. You know? I guess I would care if I was in middle school, but I'm damn near 59 years old. You know? Don't give a shit. I have to respect you for your insults to bother me. But this child trafficking shit needs to be investigated. Seriously needs to be investigated. And not Jeffrey Epstein. You don't go to Maxwell, you know, a year ago. Sherilyn showed up about a year ago. Pushed herself and pushed herself and pushed herself. So I ended up starting to talk to her. Sent me a laptop telling me it was a brand new laptop, but I've never gotten a laptop that didn't have, if it was brand new, it had absolutely no paperwork to it. And she wanted me to start doing my lives from that laptop. I've never trusted that laptop. I've never once used that laptop. You know, I set it up to go see if I could find anything on it, but fuck, I'm not a technical person. So I couldn't find it. Wanted me to use that laptop bad. Someone said that the THC cartridges that she kept referring to as a felony. Maybe they weren't going to arrest me. Maybe they were going to give me THC things that had fentanyl in it. I don't know. It never happened. You know? It never happened. What I do know is that they want to shut me up. You know? And they send people all the fucking time. Sherilyn's not the first by far. You know? Pat Goodwin was one that they set up. You know? I've had so many people that they have sent me in my life. And then they say, oh, David says he can't trust anyone. No. You know? Because this group does whatever. They actually killed one of my plants. The rest of my plants are dying because they haven't been watered. But the aloe vera plant in my living room was dying. And I thought, okay, well, I need to water it. Not realizing it was waterlogged. And who's doing it? It's either the Mexican next door or the Oompa Loompa on the other side of me. I would be willing to bet that it's the Oompa Loompa. Because Daniel Doud went on and on about, oh, DavidShurter is giving his book out like he's famous or something to his neighbors. I only did that to one person, and that would be the Oompa Loompa. The very dude that I caught casing my garage. The meth head that goes to the place I used to work at that's in the same parking lot as the sheriff's office. You know? That's the whole thing. They have a lot of resources, and they want to shut down this child trafficking bullshit. They don't want anyone to know about it. They don't want anyone to talk about it. They don't want anyone to even think about it. And so that's how it works. And so I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. And then they send me that email saying, oh, we're going to Isaac Cappy you, and it's going to even be more spectacular than what we did to Isaac Cappy. And there's nowhere to run, and there's nowhere to hide. They're not even original. They take my own shit and actually try to present it as yours. You know? Mickey D. What an interesting question that is. I would be willing to bet that you're one of the people who's connected to the people who are in my house. And the Oompa Loompa is fascinated with the animals in my house. You know? They come in here and brag and play and all of that. And they all do it anonymously with all these fake ass accounts. That's what they do. You know? And I'm supposed to be afraid, I guess. You know? I'm supposed to marvel at their superiority, I guess. You know? But that's what's been going on. It's hot. It's not going to get any better. I guess there's a fault line in between the United States and Canada that's now starting to have earthquakes and stuff, so it looks like it might be getting ready to split. It's one that I've never even heard of before. I mean, it's bad enough that the Cascadia is having the issues it's having and the New Madrid is having the issues that it's having, but now there's another one. And so who can keep up? We're at the end, you know? We're at the end. Oh, dude, I already got, you can message redacted, retracted. I already got screenshots of your shit though, dude. So you can, now I can show that you're trying to hide what the fuck you said before. You realize that, Mickey D, right? You realize that I got screenshots of it and now I just got a screenshot of you trying to erase your comment? You know? That isn't going to work. And you can't, because I timed you out for 24 hours. So there's no conversation. That's what ends up happening, is that they play all these games. You know? Probably Mickey D is connected to the people who are breaking into my house all the time. And you can see, if you go to that description, Daniel Doud is so secure that Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross is going to protect him. But then you can go click on that link and read about what happened 6 months after Owen was dead and I had been making issues out of it. Neil Gross actually emailed me and we got into an argument via an email exchange. He was arguing about a picture that wasn't even part of it and an account that wasn't even part of anything. And yet I had all of those live YouTube videos of the Harlan. I had the whole list of that. You know? Neil has been protecting these pedophiles. That's the whole thing. He's protecting this child trafficking operation. He's been protecting this child trafficking operation. Who was making all of the threats before the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion? Doug Mesner, aka Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. Why was I living in Erling? Because Doug Mesner, aka Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who lived 23 miles away from me, unbeknownst to me, in Tacoma, ran me the fuck out. They were doing the exact same thing to me in Washington that Richard Spencer did to that entire town in Oregon. He's not even original. Doug Mesner isn't even original, you know? And so, well, I'll tell you what. It's easy enough to do. Bye-bye. If you don't care and it's boring, okay, bye. You know? It's just, they want to hide their child protective shit. And they're expecting that no one cares. That's what they're expecting, that no one cares. That no one's going to do anything, that none of you give a shit about kids. You know? That you care about your shit. the money in your pocket and all of that. And so that's what they care. That's what they think, is that you're all going to forget about this Jeffrey Epstein. And why? Because it's happened before. In fact, it's always happens like that. It's happened over and over and over and over. You know? Let me give you an example. Franklin came out, everybody just forgot about it. Then what? The Podesta files came out, everybody focused on that, then everyone forgot about it. Then Pizzagate happened. Everyone focused on that, then they forgot about it. Then QAnon happened. Everyone focused on that, then later on they forgot about it. You know, that Epstein was murdered in prison. Everyone focused on it, then everybody forgot about it. That's exactly what they're expecting this time. Because they're expecting everybody to have the attention span of a fucking goldfish. But we're in judgment. Turn away from kids being raped and murdered. It's not going to go well for you. Just saying. I don't know if Iowa Police Commissioner is dirty. Who can tell, Susan? They all seem to be involved in something or other, and they all protect each other. You know? Don't they call that, what, the blue code or something? They'll all defend each other. Neil Gross is running a meth operation here in town with Noah Schilling and Bill McDaniel and Chad Butler running this fucking meth operation, but nobody cares. You know, and they're protected. And then the fucking pedophiles come after me. They break into my house at will. The blue line. Thank you, Susan. The blue line. And then they'll protect them. They protect the fucking pedophiles. That's the reason why I focused on God. Because I knew I couldn't trust the police. I knew I couldn't trust people to actually stand up. You know? And any survivor who's gone through. Look at how they treated the survivors that came out with Jeffrey Epstein. Go read the shit, how they treated those survivors. That's how it works. That's how it works. That's why they're so focused on me. Now they're running around telling people that I don't know how to spell Owen's last name. Well, you want to know what? I would wonder if Owen knew how to spell my last name. Why the fuck would I spell his last name? I never had to deal with it. You know, I knew his last name. Never had to. Until they murdered him, I had never written his last name, I don't think once. You know? But I don't know how to spell his last name, so therefore I didn't know him, even though he dated my sister for 20 years. You know, so how is that so? It's the same thing of, I don't know who Pootie Twang is. I'm not Pootie Twang. But when you send emails to the Pootie Twang account, I'm going to answer you right off the bat. But I'm not Pootie Twang, and I don't know who Pootie Twang is. I just answer his emails. That's Daniel Doud's contention. That's what he just argued. What, an hour ago? Not even? That's what he argued. And then what did he say? Then he came off and said, I think David is a danger to himself and especially to children and anyone who wants to interview me. You know, dude, you don't need to be interviewed. You need to be fucking investigated. You need to be investigated. I know you're directly connected to the Oompa Loompa next door that's breaking into my house. By your own admissions and bragging about it, I know you're connected to that Oompa Loompa. And I would be willing to bet that your group is connected to Sherilyn. You know? It's just that you failed. You didn't set me up this last time. You know? Bayans can't afford to have your police chief risk the operation. There is no police chief. There is no police chief. There is no more Harlan Police Department. It's just Neil Gross, Sheriff Neil Gross, Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross, and his department. That is the law enforcement and the only law enforcement in Shelby County. Hey, Saki. Hey, Katie. This whole situation just needs to be looked at. You know? And they can actually post death threats and send me death threats and all of that stuff. And everyone's just like, you know, what I got from people in town was, wow, that sucks. You have no idea. Yeah, it truly does suck. You know, it truly does suck. I just, thank God I never used that computer. Which means I don't have a computer to actually start writing, because I won't use anything that I can't carry with me all the time. Because they break into my house at will. You know, and they do stupid shit. Feeding my dogs peanut butter, overwatering certain plants. They just want me to know that they're in the house. It's part of a terroristic thing. You know? Kicking Granny one. I find that there are things I can do about it. I don't know about anybody else. But I've been at this for a long time. And more importantly, I think God is having something to do with it. God is starting to expose all this shit. This Jeffrey Epstein stuff is not going away because people fundamentally don't like pedophiles. They don't like pedophiles. And that's what this group is. A bunch of fucking pedophiles who are trafficking fucking kids. You know? You can call them murderers. People are okay with murderers, it seems like. They're okay with murderers. They're okay with the criminals, blah, 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 blah. But, for that. Because now he's actually saying, oh, my house burned down in Iowa and I lost my dog. That is another one of their veiled threats. That's another one of their veiled threats. He's going to be in here making veiled threats to try and shut me down. You know? That's how this works. That's how this works. This is how it always has worked. They make fucking, you know? Aren't we all on borrowed time? Now they're in here actually making veiled threats. That's how it works. They're all in here making veiled threats. Because they want the shit closed down. And they figure if they can get rid of me, they can make it all go away. That's why they're in here saying, my house burned down in Iowa and I lost my dog. Yeah, they're posting videos of my house burning down all the time. Am I on borrowed time? Well, we're all on borrowed time, dude. And you're all going to be fucking claimed by the dark, but you're too goddamn stupid right now to realize it. You know? You're just too fucking stupid, but it's great because I get these straight shots, you know? No, don't do any real drugs at all now. I don't even smoke pot. Haven't even smoked pot. Don't have any, you know? What do I think? That's what I think. I think he's the second coming of Jesus. And I laughed hysterically at the South Park thing. And the fact that it made him butthurt. The fact that he went to Scotland and people in Scotland don't like him either. My family never really turned against me. Oh, the dude who now is making threats, veiled threats, is now trying to bring up my family. You know? I took care of my mom for the last 5.5 years of her life. I saw my dad a week before he died. When my sister Cindy and my brother Steven came to actually say goodbye to my dad, I was all involved with that. You know? They're all in here making veiled threats. They all want to get in here and they all think they're going to close me down with all of their stupid shit. And it's not going to happen. Well, I tell you what, dude, I'm done playing with you. So we'll time your ass out. Because I'm tired of dealing with it. You know? I want to take a screenshot just so I can show everyone. That's the other thing with Sherilyn. She never sent me any screenshots ever. She was supposed to be taking screenshots. She did. She was working for them. That computer. If I use that computer for anything, I bet they have a back door to that computer. You know? I bet they do. I'll never use that computer. She didn't send any what? She didn't send any what, Saki? But again, you guys need to go to my blog, DavidShurter.com, and just type in names down in that search engine and just read, you know? Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. And so you just have to go in and type in names and see what pulls up, you know? But this is all one big game to them. It's all one big game. And they come in here and they do all of their stupid shit and they make all of their little veiled threats. Then when you call them out, they're like, I didn't make a veiled threat. You know? Yeah, not at all. But they all protect pedophiles. That's what they're in here for. They want to protect pedophiles. Just like Trump is doing. It's only a matter of time before Trump. Isn't it interesting that they went to another fucking pedophile to go get information from her? Someone that has a history of lying. But they haven't gone to any of the victims. You know? I don't know about the Pakistani grooming scandal in London. I don't really keep up with anything that's going on other than what's going on here with my own shit. And I don't know if Larry King is still alive. He's old if he is. You know? He's old if he is. The last thing I know is when he got out of jail, he was working out at some BMW place on the East Coast and was involved with two child's charities. But people found out that he was involved with two child's charities, and I think they got him off of those child charities because people complained, because people found them. He was a bad, bad man. So was Alan Baer. Bad, bad, bad. But they were two of a whole list of people that were bad. You know? Can you give me some advice about, dude, you're not getting laid. You know, I don't know who you're kidding. You seem to be an incel. Nobody wants to fuck you and you're angry about it. You know, sucks to be you. How bad do you have to be? I'm ugly, I'm old, I'm fat, and I terrible teeth. My teeth look like shit, and I still get hit on. You know? How bad can you be that nobody wants to have anything to do with you? You know? I just don't get that. But I've been celibate since the divorce, probably, 13, 14 years now? Long time. I'll never date anybody. I certainly will never get naked and jiggy with anybody. Again. Ever. It's funny because you get older as a guy, you lose your drive anyway. I don't have any interest whatsoever. You know? No interest. As a gay dude who is married to a sex addict for 20 years, and especially being abused as a kid, I've had more fucking sex. I've had to endure more sex in this life than anybody should have to endure in lifetimes. You know? Never again. Never again. Well, if the Islamic game sexual exploitation affected 1,400 girls, they're running behind the fucking Catholic Church because the Catholic Church has a lot more victims. They were all involved. The Catholic Church was directly connected to Shirley Oaks group home that is in England. You know, it's in the UK. And it was the Catholic Church that did that. So you know, and you want to know what? There was no Islamic shit going on in Omaha in the 80s when I was a kid. It was all the Catholic Church, Boys Town, Father Flanagan, and all of the Catholic churches and the dioceses and all of that. You know, it was all connected to the Catholic Church. In Omaha, P.J. Morgan, Willie Thiessen, Warren Buffett. You really think that they made all of their money at a time that the economy was crashing? They made so much money because they were shipping so many drugs, so much cocaine from the Contras into Offutt Air Force Base. That's how they made all of their money. You know? That's how they made all of their money. And the Catholic Church was heavily involved with all of it. With all of it. And so, that's why I don't go to church. Because I just, you know, oh God. God bless capitalism. Well, dude, if you really think that God gives a shit, okay. Capitalists are, what, more loved by God than socialists? God knows they're more loved than Marxist, you know, because God has political affiliations. Is that what you're saying? Because it's the stupidest fucking thing I think I've heard of in the last 10 minutes. The dumbest thing I heard today was Daniel Doud saying he's not Pootie Twang, but he's answering the emails that I'm sending to the Pootie Twang account. But he's not Pootie Twang. Doesn't know who Pootie Twang is. Has no clue. But he's answering the emails as Pootie Twang that I'm sending to the Pootie Twang account. And that makes sense. Maybe to Neil Gross. Maybe to Neil Gross. To anybody else, not even in the least. Not even in the least. And I'm not running. And I'm not hiding. Eventually, I figured they are going to show up at my door. You know? Because posting all of those fucking flyers all over town with my address on it and calling me a fucking pedophile, nobody showed up at my door wanting to shoot me in the face. Probably because people who got mad about it actually saw the sign I have out in my yard, went and Googled me and looked up my blog and realized what I was involved with and what I'm trying to expose. But that was that whole flyer thing. They were trying. And there's a video out there of deputies, sheriff deputies, hanging those fucking flyers in down in the square. So Neil Gross was having his deputies do it. Because they think if they can shut me up, then their whole meth operation is protected then too. You know? That's what they think. I think the cat's out of the bag, is what I think. I think there's a lot of people who are very aware and their eyes are wide open. With Trump as well. Since you can't see all of the shit that's coming out about Trump and Epstein and think that there wasn't a connection to them. You know? What are all of these beautiful secrets that he wrote about? And they've come out and said that book does exist. That letter does exist. You know? It does exist. So what were the beautiful secrets he was talking about? You know? Have anything to do with the child trafficking that they were all involved with? I bet it does. And to just blindly say, no, it doesn't, means that you're just blindly supporting people to be pedophiles. So stop thinking you're so superior. You know? People don't like pedophiles. And they don't like people who protect pedophiles. Flat out. You know? And isn't it funny how all of the pedophiles are always calling everybody else a pedophile? So obviously they know. Daniel Doud constantly calls me a fucking pedophile. So he knows people don't like pedophiles. You know? But he's desperate not to be considered one. But he's not Pootie Twang. He doesn't even know who Pootie Twang is. He just answers his emails for him. That's how it works. And because I don't know how to spell Owen Wingert's last name, means I don't know Owen. I never knew Owen. Owen and I didn't know each other. He just dated my sister Kathy for 20 fucking years. You know? But I didn't have a clue who he was. I just picked his name out of the paper? I guess I threw a dart at the obituaries. You know? Even though, as Pootie Twang, Daniel Doud, and Geo Farnsworth were posting on Facebook or on YouTube and bragging about being in Harlan at the time that Owen ended up dead. You know? So how does that work? How does all that work? You know? And then people wonder why I get frustrated with all of this. They wonder why I get frustrated. Because I feel like I'm living in a fucking mental institution with a bunch of psychotic middle schoolers. That's what I feel like. I'm going to keep this short because it's even hot up here. It's just hot outside. I think it's 100 degrees today. For those of you who are interested, my book, DavidShurter.com, or PayPal and Venmo are DShurter. I'm completely broke. I'm working on stuff, but it's been hard because all of this shit has just triggered the shit out of my post-traumatic stress disorder. And to be quite honest, this whole thing with Sherilyn has just basically broken my heart. I'm glad that it happened now. Well, way before she gave me those THC things. But I was going to move to Lincoln and have her live with me. You know? I actually cared about Sherilyn. And she was trying to do everything she could to slit my throat. That's it. It's sad. You know? Same shit that they did to Isaac Cappy. Same thing they did to Max Spears. Same thing they did to Laura King. Their game doesn't change. It's the same fucking thing. And what also doesn't change is that when you call them out on it, oh, they didn't have anything to do with it. I don't know who Pootie Twang is. I've never been Pootie Twang. I just answer his emails. Within minutes of getting an email from me. Because I sent it to the cops with his email because they have that Shadow Dragon program. They could figure it out. They could figure it out. But, I don't know. Thomas doesn't pay me. I don't work for Thomas. You know? Not opening chat again on my life. I don't work for Thomas, and Thomas doesn't pay me. Thomas Schoenberger, as far as I'm concerned, is their boss. And I think Gabe Hoffman is Thomas's boss. That's what I think. Personally, that's what I think. From what I've had to deal with these dumbasses, that's what I think. That's how I think the hierarchy works. But they're all connected. Thomas Schoenberger is controlled opposition with Sewer Town and Daniel Doud and Geo Farnsworth and Tara Joyce and Corey Daniel and his Sicilian witch wife and DeFango and all of that, along with Gabe Hoffman. They're all each other's controlled opposition. They all work together, but they all want you to think that they oppose each other. And Their game is to bounce you around like a ping pong ball. Thomas will say that I was working with Sewertown. Sewertown says I'm working with Thomas. Just like what they just tried to do now. It's like a ping pong ball. And most people get frustrated and it discombobulates people. It doesn't me. Because when you realize that they're all the same goddamn group, it's not that hard to figure out the fucking game. They all work together in their little fucking pedophile ring. Their little child trafficking ring. They all work together. That's how it works. That's how it works. They're all connected. Just like if you look at Oompa Loompa, you'll find Oompa Loompa next door to me is completely connected to Daniel Doud and Geo Farnsworth. I bet there's fucking telephones. I don't think the dude owns a computer because I don't think he... But I bet there's phone calls. I bet there's stuff like that. Just like Sherilyn is involved with them. I bet there's shit. If people investigated, they would find it. But that means that you have to get off your fucking ass and stop waiting for this Epstein bullshit that you've been waiting, what, for 10 years? It's never going to come. You know? It's never going to come. Well, dude, if you're from Nigeria, at this point in time, I wouldn't come to America. You have no idea where they'll fucking grab you and ship you off to. They just ship them everywhere. And now Trump is actually working with this billionaire to set up this thing for everyone to actually be this database on everybody. Oh yeah, what could go wrong with that? You know? What could go wrong with that? I just got something. Ed Operman is now suddenly sending me shit all the time. So not interested. So not interested. Okay, well, with that said, I'm just going to get off here. Again, anybody who wants to donate, DShurter is my PayPal and my Venmo. Go to my blog, DavidShurter.com. Use the search bar down on the right. Type in names. Just see what comes up. I typed in Neil Brick. All kinds of shit that I had forgotten about came up. You know? I couldn't find the name of that investigator. I know it's somewhere. I'll figure it out eventually. And then when I do, I'll let everyone know. His contention was, again, that Doug Mesner, a.k.a. Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, was sending people from the Satanic Temple into Neil Brick's Smart Conference, and they were recruiting all of those victims to become part of their little prostitution thing. That's how it was working. And that dude was trying to expose it until he ended up dead after he accidentally fell down a flight of stairs. You know? That's how all this shit has always worked. You know? That's how, it all needs to be investigated. And from someone other than me. I'm not Nancy Drew, and I don't have any authority. Anything I bring is just going to be discredited. What, is there no one out there that has the balls or the tenacity or the soul to actually stand up for children? Are you all so soulless? Don't give a fuck. Is that how it works? And I'm not talking about the people, those of you out there who actually don't have any more authority than I do, but there are people with authority who are out there. What I used to get told is career killer. Those are the two words everyone used. Okay. Don't do it then. I have two more words for you that you need to actually incorporate. Soul destroyer. You're destroying your own souls. You know? Whatever soul you have left. There has to be someone who wants to investigate this bullshit, who actually has the authority to actually bring consequences. Because what am I going to do? Go make a citizen's arrest? Is that what you expect me to do? I'm going to go out and make a citizen's arrest? That's my job, huh? I'm Nancy Drew, and I'm going to go out and make a citizen's arrest. I'm going to go arrest all these pedophiles. That's how it's supposed to work? Because it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. This shit needs to be stopped. This pedophile ring needs to be stopped. And I don't give a shit what political affiliation they associate themselves with, what religion they associate themselves with, what fucking gender they want to call themselves. Don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. Don't give a shit what color they are. Don't give a shit. If they're fucking pedophiles, they need to be stopped. Flat the fuck out. Flat the fuck out. And this whole group that has done nothing but go after fucking survivors and victims of this bullshit need to be fucking investigated. You know? Because they're as stupid as fucking Daniel Doud. I'm not Pootie Twang. I don't know who Pootie Twang is. But I'm answering his fucking emails for him. In real time. These fucking pedophiles need to be brought the fuck down. This pedophile ring needs to be brought the fuck down. Flat out. And if you're not for that, then you're for that. That's how it works. It's black and white. The issue is black and white. You're either for bringing these fucking pedophiles down, or you stand with the pedophiles. That's how it works. And God have mercy on your soul if that's the case. Because the dark will have no mercy. Nor will God. Nor will God. Children deserve more. They deserve more. And as adults, that's our responsibility. Of course I believe in Jesus. Of course I believe in Jesus. The Word is what saved me. The Word is what saved me. More than that, I believe in heaven. And I believe that people have lost their fear of God and they need to get it back, because I believe in the wrath of heaven still too. I believe in all of that. I only believe that heaven is a self-indulgent parent for so long. Then it's not, you know? Heaven's going to do what heaven's going to save its own. If you're not following the Word, then you're fucked. If you think you can do whatever the fuck you want to do in this life, any dark shit you want to do and then go and be excused, that isn't how it works. That's never how it has worked. And it is not the way. Repent. Confess your sins. That's how it works. Oh, Geo, the one who's all connected. See, he uses the clown thing, but that is because he's all connected to John Wayne Gacy. He's fascinated with John Wayne Gacy, which is why Geo is such a homophobe. That's the reason why he's such a homophobe. That's the reason why he uses clown and everything. Because he's attracted to John Wayne Gacy. You know, the serial killer that killed all those young boys? That's Geo right there. Everything is clown with this dude. Because he loves John Wayne Gacy. And you need to go investigate Geo as his little clown person on X. Because the conversations that I'm hearing about that he's having with people are fucking insane. are insane. But he's all connected to fucking John Wayne Gacy. So the people, all of you out there who think that the pedophiles are fine, that's who this group is. They like John Wayne Gacy. You know? They like John Wayne Gacy. And it's all in my head. All of the emails, the death threats last time, the flyers that have been hung up all over town, it's just all in my head. You know? It's all in my head. That's what they're saying. You know? That's what they're saying. It's all in my head. The flyers just appeared out of nowhere. No one hung them up. They just hung up. Oh, well, they don't even exist, even though I have some down on my front in my front area. People have taken them down. People in town know, but they don't exist because the one who's actually all enamored with John Wayne Gacy says so. The dude who actually bragged about murdering my friend Owen along with Daniel Doud. The same dude. You think he has a reason why he's telling everyone that it's all in my head? Why he wants to convince my head? Yeah. I think John Wayne Gacy had the same kind of argument, I think. You know? Didn't exist. He wasn't involved. Don't know how those dead boys got in my basement. Oh. You know? But that's why he's all connected to clown. Clown, clown, clown. Everything is clown. Because he's connected to John Wayne Gacy. You know? He's all enamored with the dude. That's why he's so homophobic. It's disgusting. With that said, that's my live for today.